Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learn back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Jupiter in the 12th house and natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the Jupiter placements in the houses. They were a little bit concise, and some people may have referred to them as snappy. So, what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, Jupiter in the 12th house is comparable to Jupiter in Pisces, but naturally you got to blend in the zodiac sign. With it, Jupiter in Pisces in the 12th house can be different than Jupiter in Virgo in the 12th house, as an example. Now, the thing about Jupiter is it's connected with in-laws. So in-laws, may be a little bit nebulous, obscure, unclear, passive, maybe in a less fortunate situation, such as being, impoverished or, lower level income. They may be the source of, excuse me, could be the source of secret sorrows or, tied into self-undoing. Um, could be also very compassionate, empathetic, even intuitive, but may be deceptive and duplicitous as well, may be involved in some 12th house, field or profession, whether it could be poetry, dancing, photography, anesthesiology, or even the metaphysical, which includes astrology, as some examples. Now, Jupiter is also associated with exuberance and enthusiasm. So, Jupiter posited in the 12th house. Well, naturally, there may be some kind of limitation or restriction in the expression of enthusiasm, of exuberance, of ebullience, even humor. That those things may be expressed, more in solitude and seclusion, privately. Um, but at the same time, there may be, certain exuberance and enthusiasm expressed for people that are in a less fortunate situation, whether it could be people that are homeless, hungry, oppressed, impoverished, as some examples. It may be also exuberance and enthusiasm may be expressed in ways which are one is sacrificing for others. It could be matters of forgiveness. Um, it could be doing something, 12th house related, whether it be something with boating, fishing, swimming, something with aquatics like oceanography. Um, it could be doing something, with an aunt or uncle, as some examples. Jupiter is also connected with philosophies and beliefs. So when you have Jupiter posited in the 12th house, well, the beliefs and, philosophies, you may have, maybe, tied into spirituality, maybe connected with the metaphysical, which includes astrology, and it may be, maybe influenced or impacted by an aunt or uncle. It might be tied into compassion, forgiveness, surrender. When I say surrender, I don't mean like surrendering to a police officer. I mean surrender, just, you know, being willing, to basically sacrifice the ego, say that, okay, I'm wrong. I see my wrongdoing in this situation. Be willing to, be willing to say compromise as an example, or give in to some degree, let the other person, maybe be right in some instances, if that makes sense. But um, the thing about this too, it could be, philosophy may also be tied in, could be with the paranormal. You may have some belief that's associated with that, and also just expressing, compassion, altruism in general as well. Now, another thing about Jupiter, it's connected with luck and fortune. So if you have Jupiter posited in the 12th house and natal chart, that luck may be, you may be lucky exposing hidden adversaries in some instances. Maybe you're lucky when you're just doing things in solitude, seclusion, and isolation, being able to get things done. as an example, without little disturbances or distractions or interruptions or what have you. And it could be you may be lucky, in your connection with an aunt or an uncle, or when you're helping, people that are less fortunate than yourself. Those things could be very lucky, maybe fortuitous for you, more so than the average person. Going on retreats is another example. Um, Being able, when you sacrifice for others, this is where it could be, things that have disappeared, maybe finding them. You might be more lucky than the average person as well. Jupiter in astrology is also associated with prosperity and affluence. So if you have Jupiter posited in the 12th house of the natal chart, the prosperity may come when doing work, in solitude, seclusion, isolation. It may be in some field in which you're rescuing others, or doing something with the metaphysical, again, which can include astrology, working in spirituality, poetry, dancing, photography, anesthesiology as some examples. It could be working in a nursing home. Um, it could be helping, the mentally, challenged, if you will. It may be doing, something in which you're sacrificing, for others. So, and the thing about this too, when you look at Jupiter in astrology is also associated with higher education, college, your post high school studies. So if you have Jupiter in the 12th house in a natal chart, you may want to taking some kind of course, higher education course. It could be by yourself in solitude or seclusion. It may be done, or there may be some restrictions or limitations in connection with this. It could be taking, some higher education course in something 12th house related, whether it's something with spirituality or the metaphysical, which includes astrology. It could be doing something, with boating, um, working on oceanography, doing something with dancing, photography, as some examples. In your higher education or college studies may, or also chemistry could be another example. And higher education or studies may impact a connection with an aunt or an uncle. And it's also, there may be some confusion in these matters as well. Maybe there's something where, where higher education matters may be somewhat, obscure, nebulous, or unclear. Uh, Jupiter in astrology is also connected with expanded horizons and going outside the box, abstract thinking. So if you have Jupiter posited in the 12th house in a natal chart, it could be where, expanding horizons, may include, it might be doing something, with photography or dancing or poetry. There may be some confusion or limitation or restriction in connection with expanding horizons, going outside the box, so to speak, in abstract thinking. You may be, or you could simply be very idealistic in these matters when attempting to do so. It could be doing something 12th house related, whether it's something with spirituality, oceanography, photography, poetry, dancing, anesthesiology, as some examples. And the thing about this too is when you have Jupiter positive in the 12th house, Jupiter, as I've stated before, can be paradoxical. It's very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. So if you have Jupiter in the 12th house in the natal chart, some cases it may expand or enlarge issues, associated with the feet, the toes, the pineal gland, the lymphatic or immune system. But it could also expand altruism, matters of sacrifice, like even paranormal activity, if you do believe in that. It could be doing things, sometimes your fears may be enlarged and expanded with this, but also, matters pertaining to the less fortunate, again, which can include the homeless, the hungry, the impoverished, the oppressed. And the thing about this too, you have Jupiter positive in the 12th house in the natal chart. This could also indicate, having, wisdom, optimism. Those things could actually be hidden strikes. So those are some ways this, placement can manifest and pan out. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying stay well.